Good evening. Welcome to Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty. I'm your host, Kev. I'm back. You can follow me on Twitter at Dynasty_Go. With me tonight, as always, two beautiful men. First of all, welcome to my co-host, Matt, who you can follow on Twitter at MattFFDynasty. And he's rocking some gear tonight. He's rocking his Giants kit in preparation for me wearing my Eagles kit. We're 4-0, by the way. But I said it as a joke. So I'm just in normal gear. But good evening, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Kev. I mean, that's a great introduction. I mean, it took you nearly a minute just to go out. So I'm sure the listeners enjoyed that start to the show. But doing great, mate. Like you said, rocking the Giants jersey. Looking forward to the game this weekend that I'll be attending. Absolutely cannot wait to go to that. It's great to see the Giants actually making a decent start to the season. So I've got to represent them. I mean, got to make the most of this opportunity. It might not happen again for a few years. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Indeed, they might be getting you to QB for them this week, I reckon. And you're at the London game this weekend, like our second amazing co-host, Ali, who you can follow on Twitter at FFDynastyGrill. Good evening, Ali. How are you?
Good evening, Kev. Yeah, really good, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to Sunday. The game's coming to London. It was a great game this Sunday to watch and a great finish. And love the fact the Saints lost in fashion. The double doink that was terrific. So yeah, I'm doing really good. Apart from obviously the Buccaneers losing, but fantasy wise, done it right this week. How about yourself, Kev?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Fantasy wise, I'd say everything went as planned in majority of leagues. The good teams won, the bad teams lost. I did have a tanking team that somehow 2-2. It scored about 200 points on the season, and it's 2-2, which I'm absolutely spitting about that. But other than that league, I'm doing all right, actually, yeah. And then obviously Sunday, you two are going to be at the game, the best two from Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty that are there this week. So, good to not be there, but we're meeting up soon in the future. We'll be at the UKFFC next year, so I'll just have
free ticket.
Got a free ticket, Ali, haven't you? You won the comp.
I mean, he wouldn't have gone otherwise. So.
Right, well, obviously, we spoke about loads of positive stuff. Matt in his jersey, Ali looking amazing, Bucks losing. But we are going to switch gears and talk about the big news story from over the weekend, and it's a common theme on this show at the moment to kick off the season. Another major injury, this time to Javonte Williams, who's tore his ACL. It's a season ender. He's got a long road back. He's already dropped in value at keep trade cut from sort of running back 3 or 4 to running back 8, and that will continue. Probably follow a similar path to J.K. Dobbins when he had a similar injury last off-season. So, yeah, I think if you've got Javonte, you really should have been a contending team to begin with. If you're a rebuilding team and you had him in the first place, what are you doing? So, yeah, we're just going to dive into Javonte, get your thoughts on sort of pivots and trades away from him, or if you want to get involved, going after him. We'll kick off with selling Javonte. What would you be selling him for? I'll come to you first, Ali.
Well, if you've got Javonte and say you're a contender, you got to be selling him to replenish that running back slot where presumably, I know where I've been having him. I've been starting him every single game just because of what we saw last season. He's struggled to get going this season. But yeah, you need to replace him with someone that you can put into your lineup and help you get back to or into the playoffs and hopefully winning that championship. So you're looking at someone like I don't know, if you're going all in this year, like a Derrick Henry, maybe like an Alvin Kamara. I know there's some dynasty managers out there that Derrick Henry could be his last, decent season with the Titans. There's always that cliff that's coming. So someone like him who you can probably trade him away for fairly cheap and to get back that guy that's going to help you win a championship. Or someone like a Najee Harris that is struggling right now, someone that you can plug into your lineup. Surely there's some things better for Najee Harris coming in the next few weeks. Maybe with Kenny Pickett, perhaps he's going to throw a few short passes to Najee Harris rather than the Mitch Trubisky taken off when it gets into trouble. So they're the sort of guys that I would like to target. Someone all right, Derek Henry coming off the big game is probably not ideal, but someone like a Najee Harris, someone that you can plug in and play and help you contend for this year.
Yeah, I think Ali's spot on, to be honest. I don't currently have that many shares of Javonte Williams. Kind of gutted before the season, but now I guess with the injury, I'm kind of happy that I don't have him in too many situations. But I have obviously got him, and I think Ali absolutely nailed it with Najee. I think that's a great shout if you're wanting to move away from Javonte, but you don't really want to go for that win now piece that you might only have for a year, 2 years. Maybe going for someone like Najee Harris, a bit of a younger running back that might have a little bit more left in him. I think that's a great way to go. Or otherwise, somebody like an Aaron Jones, then maybe getting a piece on top. He's somebody that I really like for this year. I feel like he's still got a couple of years left in him with the way that he's being used. Obviously, how he's being used in Green Bay with the receptions and also being used on the ground. I've actually seen a trade just go through in one of my leagues where somebody's traded Javonte Williams for Aaron Jones in a second. So, quite like that kind of move, getting somebody with that receiving upside like Aaron Jones.
Indeed, and obviously that's the selling side of things, and it's logical to think, the selling side is if you're buying it, it's just the opposite. But there is a different market. If you're buying someone, you've got a price, and if you're selling someone, you've got a slightly different price because you want to get a little bit out of each deal. So, moving on to sort of going after Javonte, if you're in a rebuild, what sort of deals would you be looking to make? And we'll come to you first on this one, Matt.
Yeah, probably fitting that it comes to me. Like I said, I don't have too many shares of Javonte Williams, so I'm actually looking to take advantage of this injury and this little bit of a discount because I still do believe in the talent of Javonte Williams. I know he's been stuck in that timeshare, and I know obviously we're going to have to wait and see how he recovers from this injury, and he might not be ready until maybe even might not be ready for week 1 next year. We know that these ACL injuries can sometimes take a bit of time to come back from, but yeah, I'm looking to acquire him. I actually did get him into one league that I think we're all in that league, aren't we? I think the Dynasty Best Ball League. And I gave Dalvin Cook up to get him. And now you might say maybe that's a little bit too rich, but like I said, I want a bit of Javonte Williams. I don't have him in too many spots. Dalvin Cook not had the greatest of starts to the year, but I still feel like he's a solid running back. So giving up Cook to get Javonte Williams, I was more than happy to do that, to be honest, and in a team where I'm rebuilding.
Yep, along the same lines, really, it would be someone that is probably on the older end of the spectrum, someone like an Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, someone like that that's still got value to somebody who is contending this year or think they may contend. So someone like that, where if I wait too long, I'm not going to get the value that I want. And if even with Javonte, you think with the time that he's going to miss, you're talking could be a good solid year. He could miss preseason next year. You want to get that value. So I'm happy to give up a piece for someone to win now, but then in a year's time, I'm really happy to get Javonte, someone that I really have believed in. I just hope he comes back from this terrible injury.
Yeah, I think the key as well, when you've got an asset like this and maybe you've had a few bad injuries to start your season, you might have a Trey Lance, a Dak Prescott and a Javonte, and your team that you thought was going to be high flying, it's turned into a rebuilding side. I think it's ideal if you're a rebuilder that you've got him and you're gonna lose points, but he's also someone that you should be going after if he's not on your team and you're looking to rebuild, because for the same reason you can lose points, especially in leagues like Best Ball where your max points count, or leagues where max points go towards your draft order as well. So last bit on Javonte then, if you want to replace him, but you don't want to involve him in the trade and do something separate to Javonte to get that running back production, one guy from you each, who would you be going after as a cheap alternative, as a plug-in?
A cheap alternative to Javonte. Someone like Ramondre Stevenson, or I've got Kareem Hunt. I really like Kareem Hunt, and I still think that the opportunities that he's getting, the opportunities that he's getting is someone that I'm expecting to break out. It's been all Chubb at the minute, and Kareem Hunt's still getting the workload, but he's just not showing it on the fantasy stat sheet. So he'd be someone that I've already got quite a bit of, but I think that he's about to break out and someone that I can probably acquire pretty cheap.
I mean, Ali nearly screwed me there because I had two people in mind, and then when he came with two names, I thought, oh god, he's got me here. And to be honest, from Ramondre Stevenson, I mean, can I take that one, seeing as Ali's hung his hat on Kareem Hunt? Because I like Ramondre. I think that the schedule looks pretty good for for the Patriots coming up. Obviously, we know he's in a timeshare with Damian Harris at the minute, but Ramondre's still getting that usage. Seems to now be that more receiving back, even though he is getting in usage on the ground ever since Montgomery got hurt. Ramondre Stevenson's taken a big step forward in his snap shares and the routes that he's running. So, I think there's definitely a ceiling there for Ramondre. If anything were to happen to Damian Harris as well, then you've got a running back that can be right up there as an RB1 for the remainder of the season. So I quite like him as a bit of a cheaper option to go for.
Yeah, I think they're both cracking shouts. I've got one as well, but I'm just going to keep it under my hat for now until later on in the show when I will reveal that. So
nice. Keep
your ears peeled, folks. And with that, we're going to move on to the main part of today's show, where we'll be recapping week 4 of the NFL season. We're going to highlight some players that stood out to us and discussing a couple of trades to establish their dynasty value. We're going to kick off with Matt, and he's done a solid for us here. He's picked a guy from Thursday Night Football, which is a start of the slate. It's just how I like it, doing it in order. Matt, who's your guy?
Yeah, you've teed that up quite nicely there, Kev. It's T. Higgins that I'm going for as the guy to start the show. Like I said, I knew you'd enjoy that one, Kev, kicking off with that Thursday night game. So, yeah, T. Higgins currently sitting as the wide receiver 14, coming off that really impressive 7 reception, 124 yards and a touchdown against the Dolphins on Thursday. I think it's really interesting that he's actually just one spot behind Jamar Chase at the moment. He's the wide receiver 13. And there's only 1 point actually between them in fantasy and in PPR league. So it's really great to see that T. Higgins he's not just taking that back seat now with Chase there. He's actually right up there and contending with him and looking like being a real stud. The stud that we all wanted him to be. We were a little bit disappointed when Chase came along, but it's great to see that T. Higgins still producing even with an elite talent like Chase next to him. And as I say, just a point between him in fantasy, and that's despite the fact that he's had 13 less targets than what Chase has had. And I'm just looking for the remainder of this year as well. You just look at that schedule. If you go on Sleeper and look at that schedule, it's just a sea of green for like the next 9 games. It's absolute joy to behold. The Ravens, the Saints, the Falcons, the next 3 games. I mean, I'm fine with T. Every league that I've got him, you're starting T. Higgins without question. And then you've just got to think about what's the actual ceiling for T. Higgins. I mean, he's doing great at the moment. His target share 18.1%. Then looking at Jamar Chase, he's actually right up there at 26.5%. So that's got me thinking, and something that we sometimes talk about. If anything were to happen to Jamar Chase, obviously we're not hoping for injuries, but if anything were to happen to Chase in this offense, if T. Higgins' target share, that's going to see an increase. I mean, we're happy with what we're getting from T. Higgins right now. The fact he's putting up over 100 yards and a touchdown and 7 receptions. If Chase goes down, I mean, the ceiling, I think it's absolutely unreal. We've seen the touchdowns, even the touchdowns that aren't touchdowns. I'm thinking back to last week, that touchdown in the back corner that should have stood really. I think it was definitely in there. But I mean, he's just an absolute joy to watch. I love T. Higgins. I think we all love T. Higgins, don't we, on this show? So yeah, it's just great to see T. Higgins having a real strong start to the season. As I say, with that schedule, I'm expecting it to carry on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that any sort of buy window for T. Higgins is firmly slammed shut. Coming into the season, everybody wanted a part of Jamar Chase. I mean, what would you pay to acquire Jamar Chase? And I think between the two, it's certainly a lot closer now. The last 3 weeks, T. Higgins 26 targets is really balling out right now. Perhaps the defense is focusing more on Jamar Chase and giving Higgins a bit more work on the number 2 cornerback, But yeah, it just makes me go back to the Super Bowl in the biggest game for the Bengals, whatever. T. Higgins was the guy that Joe Burrow threw to really often. He scored the 2 touchdowns. It was him producing it, and it was a bit of a quiet game for Jamar Chase. So just thinking longer term, T. Higgins, I have to believe that. I know we spoke about in the offseason about the contract situation coming up. They're obviously going to have to extend Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase coming up. Will they have enough money to get T. Higgins as well? Well, you have to believe that they're not going to let someone like T. Higgins go. I really can't see it happen. So if his long-term future's in Cincinnati, I'm really happy, because any show that we talk about T. Higgins, I just have a big smile on my face. Absolutely love the guy. So yeah, love the slate of games coming up as well. Very, very exciting.
Yeah, just echoing what you guys have said. We all love him here at Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty, and think about things you love to see. You've got like the Northern Lights, you've got Grand Canyon, you've got T. Higgins going off as well. It's a joy to behold. I think he's been massively underrated previously. I think his value has gone north, and it's reaching a point, it's reaching a peak. Can it get much higher? Probably not, but he's got to be a top 5 dynasty wide receiver in my eyes. Like, he's really close to Jamar Chase and those other dudes at the top. Not the top tier, but what he's done, I think his numbers are very similar to Jamar Chase over the career, really, in terms of, I don't know if it's points per game or points per tie, but it's literally identical. So it's good to see he's getting that respect that he truly deserves, because he is a fantastic talent. Now we're going to establish his value in terms of trading, and I'm going to throw some offers out to you and see which side of it you prefer. So trade number 1, T. Higgins or AJ Brown?
I'll just start by saying, usually I never look at the trades that you put with Kevin. I didn't look at the ones you put, and I've just seen them now on the show sheet, and I'm absolutely dreading all 3 of these. So I appreciate you coming such tough ones to start with. But yeah, this is a real tough one. I actually had them neck and neck during the off season, right before the season started. I think I had Higgins 1 spot behind AJ Brown, and it's still really tough for me because I've been impressed with what I've seen from AJ Brown. The fact that the Philly have really stepped up in the passing game and is getting those targets. And oh God, Kev, you've started on such a tough one. I think I'm going to say AJ Brown, even though it pains me to say it, because I am a big fan of the talent, and I just feel like he's the true one. I think he's the true one over at Philly. He's now getting those targets, and we know that connection that he's got with Jalen Hurts, the best friends. So there's always going to be that connection there. And I just think AJ Brown, I feel like he's going to get those targets, and what he can do when he's got the ball in his hand is right out there with the best as well. So yeah, it's still neck and neck for me, to be honest, but I'm going to lean AJ Brown, I think.
Yeah, I've got not a lot else to add, to be honest. AJ Brown, I think I had about 3 spots, maybe 2 spots ahead in my dynasty ranking. No, I think it was 3 before the season, and probably it's very similar. So I would just edge for AJ Brown, the number 1 for Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl bound quarterback.
On the record, I would have picked T. Higgins because I'm not Homer. Next trade, we've got the old favourite that we used to debate quite a lot: T. Higgins or CD Lamb.
This is a good one. I wish we had Rich Cullen on this show, because we've had some back and forth with this one. And you know what? I'm going to stick with what I said right from the very beginning. I had T. Higgins. I think I'm going to stick with T. Higgins. Well, I love CD Lamb, and he's really impressed these last couple of games. Obviously had a bit of a slow start, but starting to really come into his own the last couple of games. But I think in terms of talent, I'm pretty sure they're neck and neck, to be honest. So I just favour T. Higgins. I think that ceiling's a touch higher than what CD Lamb's is.
Yeah, completely agree. I would be picking T. Higgins. It's changed from the start of the season. CD Lamb, I had, again, a couple of spots ahead, but what I've seen from T. Higgins and CD Lamb, although Dak's not there now, he had a good week this week, but he's not the dominant wide receiver 1 that I thought he possibly could be. And T. Higgins, I think his ceiling in that offense is higher.
Yeah, I'll just say CD, even though it's not CD. And then the last one is Higgins at the 23-second or his mate Jamar Chase.
Oh, this is a tough one, because we all love Jamar Chase. Like, we've seen the incredible scene that he can have when he's on full form. But I just think the fact that we've spoke about, haven't we, right at the beginning of this, that I don't think there's a great deal between them now. And the fact that you're getting that 23-second, we've mentioned it plenty of times. This is looking like a real stacked 23 class, and I think what you're going to get in that second round is going to be a lot better than what a lot of people may be thinking at the moment. Everyone usually thinks, a second, it's not there, but to be honest, it's just like one big first. I think you can probably say you're getting some first round talent right into the mid second. So yeah, I'm going to take that second, and just knowing the strength of this class and T. Higgins as well.
Well, with you, Kev, that 23 seconds is going to be a late one, so I'm going to have to go. Jamar Chase. Just yeah, I just favour Chase, but that's a really good trade, that one.
Yeah, I'm taking the second, just hoping that someone falls in, because it'll be an early second. Well, will it be? Anyway, we're going to move on to our next guy. It's Matt's favourite position, but it's Ali that's going to be talking about it.
Yes, apologies, Matt, but I had to pick TJ Hockenson. I know someone that you like and that I like. It's someone on the number 1 scoring offense right now in the Detroit Lions. You want every piece of them at the minute. Averaging 35 points per game, and was easily the tight end 1 on the week. 39.9 PPR points, and single-handedly spearheaded me into the next round of the FFCC. So have to say that big thanks to the Hock. Just the whole offense as a whole is just exploding. At the same time, their defense can't stop anyone 32nd rank. So for DFS, you want to get in the games, including the Lions, certainly. And I think obviously it was a bit of a result of the catastrophic injuries that the Lions had this week. When DeAndre Swift missed the game, looked like he could miss another game or two. Amon-Ra St. Brown was been absolutely dominant to start the season, and then superstar wide receiver DJ Chark as well. He missed the game, so it was there for one of these receivers. And Josh Reynolds had himself a fairly decent game as well, and Hockenson certainly was the feature option in the team. So 12 targets, 8 receptions, 179 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was actually the most receiving yards for a tight end for the Detroit Lions since 1964. So he just went wild in the game, and now because of it and because of the tight end landscape, he is the tight end 3 because of that one game, and he's only 4 points behind Mark Andrews. Would you believe that? But yeah, going forward, obviously, TJ Hockenson is someone that we've always said is in the top sort of 5 or 6 tight ends in Dynasty. Could he make that next step? Well, he's probably not shown it, and he's probably going to be boom and bust. And when then wide receivers and DeAndre Swift is back, then Hockenson's probably not someone that I rate in the top 5 anymore. He's had a really slow start to the season, but yeah, he just showed what he can do. And if going forward, if Jared Goff features in more often, then yeah, he can make that leap. Certainly young enough. We know what he can do. So yeah, it's exciting times for Hockenson owners going forward. If any of them wide receivers miss the next game, he could have another big explosion game. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always been lower than consensus on Hockenson, or in recent years at least. I just can't ever see him having that ceiling, the fact that he's had his biggest game of his career probably in a week where there's no Amon-Ra St. Brown, Swift, DJ Chark. So, yeah, you've got Jameson Williams to come into the mix as well. I think his value is at peak. I'd be looking to sell him. We'll see what the trades come out as a little bit later on, but I think he's a fine talent. He's someone that you can use as a piece to move up into that top tier and get a Mark Andrews, a Kyle Pitts or something like that. But yeah, I see this as a sell high opportunity on the whole.
Yeah, I think, like I say, I've been a big fan of TJ Hockenson for a while, and it's great seeing this game that's just happened. But like Alice said, this is just one huge game. And you just look at the first 3 games; it was averaging like 6 fantasy points per game, which is obviously not great. I mean, yeah, tight ends they're always hard to come by, but I think what you've probably had to pay to get Hockenson in your startups, or if you've acquired him in a trade, you're probably not too happy with 6 points from Hockenson. So yeah, this game's kind of saving him a little bit and giving him that bump in value that maybe he shouldn't have had. But I think that the one thing with Hockenson, the one thing that I will say is what I do like is I think he's had now like 30 targets, I think, in the first 4 weeks. So he's seen the opportunity there, even when guys like St. Brown and even Chark. I mean, the fact that Chark was in and he was still seeing targets is obviously shocking. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, it's great that he's being utilised. When it comes to tight ends, you want that volume. That's where you're getting your fantasy points, just getting that kind of volume. So that is some silver lining there. But as I say, the 6 points per game has not been super impressive, and I wouldn't expect this 30-odd point game every week. He's taking advantage of a weak wide receiver core when there's been injuries. So yeah, I'm interested to know where you guys sit in terms of trades now after this huge week. So going to kick things off, a nice simple one to start. TJ Hockenson or George Kittle?
Yes, George Kittle for me. I still think he's hanging around the top tier, maybe in the second tier right now. Disappointed last night, but someone that can go off in any, and he's done it multiple times, whereas we're not seeing it that many times from Hockenson. Kittle's someone that can take over a game. I don't know why they're not scripting him into the offense at the minute. Perhaps he's not fully healthy, but yeah, Kittle, I've gotten a tier above Hockenson, so straight up it would be him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Kittle's actually more appealing now that Trey Lance is injured for the season and he's got Jimmy G there.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I think I'd actually go Hockenson, to be honest. I'm a little bit concerned with what I've seen from George Kittle, and yeah, I think I'm going to favour Hockenson, but I am the homer, so you'd probably expect that. So the second trade that I've got for you, TJ Hockenson or Zach Ertz and a 23 second.
When I first saw this, I thought, well, this is clearly going to be Hockenson, take the younger guy. But actually, Zach Ertz, I absolutely love Zach Ertz. He's someone that's single-handedly saving a lot of my fantasy teams right now, that where I faded the tight end position, because it's been pretty consistent, to be honest. He's had a ton of targets already. So I'm going to go for him. And the fact that he's still only 31 years old, so he's still got a good 3 or 4 years ahead of him if he wants it. And just to get the 23-second on top, I'd just lean that way, but that is very close.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy Ali. Ertz used to play for the Eagles. He's also the only tight end this season that's been a top 12 tight end every week. So we're really consistent with that. Plus 23 seconds. These are things you've got to be going after, just with how deep the class is. And if it does end up being a top half of a round 2 pick, you're going to be absolutely wetting your pants.
No, that's fair enough. So the third one, this is the one I've been looking forward to here. Which side you two would go for? So it's TJ Hockenson and a 24 first, or Kyle Pitts.
Well, I will go the Kyle Pitts side, but if you have to give up Hockenson and a first right now to get Kyle Pitts, who is just on that milk carton right now with Allen Robinson, it doesn't feel great. But you have to believe the process, and you have to believe Kyle Pitts is gonna bounce back, whether it takes a quarterback change or just something in the offense to change. But I would lean that side for the unicorn.
It's just going to sound like I'm copying Ali, but I'm taking Pitts. It gets really interesting for me if you'd have said 23 first, because you know how I am on them. But I just feel that Kyle Pitts' ceiling is massive. Like, if he would have performed as expected to start this season, he'd be easily going in round 1 of startups next season, if not top half of round 1, middle of round 1. So I'll take Pitts, but yeah, good on that, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's tough. If you're contender, I think you've just got to bite the bullet and you accept that Kyle Pitts is struggling. Maybe go after somebody like a Zach Ertz so you can get cheaper and fill in. But yeah, I think I'm with you, to be honest. That potential unicorn in Kyle Pitts, it's very attractive right now.
Indeed it is. And we're going to keep on the Lions. I'm going to bring in my selection, and this will be no surprise to anyone that's listened to the show. I'm going for my flag plan for this season, Jared Goff. Sound like Paul Picking then. Anyway, moving on. Jared Goff, what an amazing week. QB1, 4 touchdowns. He scored over 33 fantasy points this week. This was without, as we mentioned, Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and superstar DJ Chark. QB5 on the season, which, I mean, it's amazing, but he has been a QB1 twice before, QB6 in his best season, also QB12. And again, as I mentioned, the number 1 team in scoring is the Lions. Team situation-wise, they're looking in a really good spot from a real-life point of view. Pick 8 and pick 16, which is the Rams in the first round next year. So there is a bit of doubt that they could potentially package and move up to take a QB, but actually the way that Jared Goff's performing, I think he's putting in a big shift, and I think he's going to get a deal with the Lions, if I was to guess. If not, then there's got to be a job out there for him if absolute scumbags like Baker Mayfield have got jobs out there. With Goff, he has got an out in 2023, but if you look a little bit deeper, he's got a really, really good value contract until 2025. So I can definitely see him sticking around. He's currently quarterback 22 at Keep Trade Cut. Just love this offense, the potential it's got with these young weapons, James Williams to come back, these assets that you can potentially add again next year, early on in the draft, if they want to get even crazier and get another wide receiver. That would be absolutely mental. So Goff is someone that I do really like for Dynasty.
Yeah, this is going to pay me, but I'm going to give credit to you, Kev, for having this flag plant of Jared Goff, because to be honest, I wasn't convinced. I was worried, that I'm a big fan of Williams, and I was worried that having Goff at quarterback, how it was going to play out. And I thought that they're obviously going to get a new quarterback when we go into the 2023 season. But what Goff's done has been incredible. Definitely playing like a guy that's currently fighting for his job and his long-term future in the NFL. And I mean, the fact that he went out and did what he did this past week without his star players, somebody like Swift and St. Brown, these two guys have been tearing it up when they're healthy. So the fact that both of those are missing and Goff still managed to carry this team and lead this team is yeah, I mean, you've just got to respect what he's doing, and it's just that I'm to be honest, I'm really happy for him, the fact that he's fought back, because I think everyone washed their hands of him and thought he's terrible when he left the Rams. We thought it was a terrible move. He was just going there to be a placeholder for a year, but the fact that he's come out fighting and really impressed this season's been great to see, and it now presents a really interesting thing in Dynasty, like you said, the fact that he's QB 22 at keep trade cut. If he does secure this long-term future with the Lions, the price that he's going for right now, he's an ideal guy to target as a QB2, even getting down there towards, he could be like a QB3, to be honest, on your roster, and he's putting up those numbers and being the QB5 on the season. I think he's potentially somebody great to go out and target right now, and if he does get that long-term contract, I can see his value jumping up into around that 16, 17 mark, maybe even a touch higher. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting situation with Goff, and fair play to him, man. He's showing out.
Yeah, he's a really likable guy, Jared Goff. Not a lot of people have got bad words to say about him. And just remember, he took to take the Rams to the Super Bowl. All right, it was very disappointing showing, but he still got them there. And the Rams right now, with that massive trade they made for Stafford, they're not looking great right now. I know they won the Super Bowl, so they probably don't care. But right now, he's really struggling. I think he's thrown the most picks out of any quarterback, I think. And yeah, Jared Goff. I still don't believe fully in Jared Goff, although he's certainly playing himself into a job. And as you mentioned, Kev, if you look around the league, there's some starting quarterbacks in the league that probably shouldn't be there right now. So he's certainly, if he doesn't get the contract with the Lions, I think he's certainly going to be a starting quarterback or in the mix for the next 2 or 3 years. So he's solid. I will just say that the Lions' offensive line is just incredible. It's given him so much time to throw the ball, and I don't know. I don't want to say any quarterback could be doing what Jared Goff could do right now. I'm not going to be that harsh. But yeah, certainly it was a great flag plant, Kev, because I didn't see it coming. And he's certainly done great stuff. Quarterback 5 already on the season, and the way the offense is going, and then add the fact you got Jameson Williams coming in, he could easily finish as a top 10 quarterback this season, and then who knows? So I've got a few trade scenarios, and I've tried to be a bit different and mix it up here. So I'll leave with this: Jared Goff and a sacred 2023 first, or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, give me that sacred 23 first. Like I just think Aaron Rodgers I've been high on him compared to keep trade cut, but yeah, he's not done it for me so far. And I think Goff, because I believe in the contract, getting a 23 first, it's a random 23 first. So yeah, give me that upside.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't see a great deal between Aaron Rodgers and that 23 first. So the fact that you're getting Jared Goff and the potential for him being the long-term starter for the Lions, I think I'd rather take a shot on that. And if you do manage to get a mid to early first, you probably get another quarterback as well with the few quarterbacks that are coming in 2023. So yeah, I'd rather take the pick and Goff.
Jared Goff or Malik Willis and a 2023 second?
Goff all day.
Maybe depending on your situation, I think if you're in a position where you can be winning right now, I think you've got to go Jared Goff. But if you're in a situation where you don't think you're going to win this year, then yeah, why not take a shot on Malik Willis? Obviously, we know the potential upside there, but there's definitely some risk attached with that as well. So yeah, I'll just say it depends on the situation. If I was contending, I would lean Jared Goff, but I just want to throw a little something in there with Malik Willis.
I might have underestimated your love for Jared Goff, but yeah, Jared Goff or Mac Jones and a 23 second.
See, you're just trying to trick me here, trying to get me off my flag plan.
Trying to say
how much I like picks. I think it's really tough, but at that price, I'm taking the Mac Jones side just because I believe in Mac Jones' job security. I think Jared Goff's job security is probably, well, it's definitely not as secure as Mac Jones, I feel. So 23 second could be beautiful. Let's lean that side. Big grudge in there.
Yeah, I've loved having my eye on the show sheet. Ali just keeps bumping up the price while he's talking. I've been loving it. But yeah, I think I'm with Kev. Matt Jones in that 23 second. The job stability looks there for Matt Jones more than it is Jared Goff, even though we're hoping that Goff can secure that contract. And while there's not an incredible ceiling when it comes to Matt Jones, the fact that again that 23 second that could be a potential stud. So yeah, I'll take Matt Jones on that one.
Yeah, we're moving on from Matt Jones and his terrible ceiling to a guy that's got an incredible ceiling. So Matt, over to you.
Absolutely, and it's going to pain me to say it. I'm going to talk about a New York Jet running back, but it's not the one that you probably think I'm going to talk about. It's obviously BREECE. I mean, we're so close now to take off, guys. I'm super excited by it. As I say, you know my love for Carter, but at the same time, I've got a big love for BREECE as well. And it's now looking like he's really starting to take a grasp of this backfield now. Just looking at his snap share over the past 3 weeks, it went from 27% up to 51% in this past week, right up to 66%. So as I say, really getting a stranglehold of this backfield now. And it just makes me laugh thinking back to everyone saying that this was going to be a committee and it was going to be Michael Carter being that potential pass catcher. I mean, it's absolute lol at that, because if you know anything about BREECE, that was never going to be the situation. And BREECE is now second amongst running backs in terms of targets with 27. As I say, I put out a thread on BREECE during the offseason saying that right after the NFL draft that he was immediately a Dynasty top 5 running back. And as I say, the fact that he fits so perfectly into this offense, that outside zone run scheme, that's a scheme that BREECE has been used to at Iowa State. 74% of his carries were behind the zone blocking scheme. So fully used to this kind of scheme that they've got going over with the Jets. We know that success when you talk about that 49ers style offense and what Robert Saleh's doing over there with the Jets. We know the fantasy goal for running backs. And then, as I say, laughing at the fact that everyone thought Carter was going to be the receiving back, because actually BREECE was the more productive receiving back in college as well. So I don't get where people got this idea from that Carter was going to be that receiving back. Yes, he did look great, and obviously I was loving it when Carter was getting those receptions last year. But out and out talent wise, there's far too much between it when it comes to BREECE and Michael Carter. I will say it's a shame that BREECE got that winning touchdown this past week, because maybe we could have had another week of trying to buy low on him. Maybe people don't pay attention to the snap share now. He's getting a stronger hold of this backfield. But even with that touchdown, I think he got 15 points today in fantasy this past week. So there's still a potential buy window there. And even if the price has gone up a touch, I'm happy to pay it, because I think there's honestly an incredible ceiling, like I've mentioned at the start for BREECE. And I feel like that breakout game, it's imminent now. So I'm happy to still go out and buy him.
Yeah, I tweeted a couple of weeks ago that BREECE is never, ever going to be this cheap ever again. I think the first 2 weeks he had 27% snap share and 45% snap share. And as you mentioned, Matt, that's jumped up the last 2 games. And them targets, he's been sneaky, really. I didn't realize he had the second most, and if it weren't for Eckler having a big week this week, he could have been number 1. So especially with the running back landscape, BREECE is someone that seems really safe right now on a really quite exciting offense with some really young key pieces that could be really good. Thinking about the end of this year going into next year, could be really exciting, this Jets offense. So I'm trying to buy every single piece of this Jets offense, apart from maybe Michael Carter. But yeah, BREECE is taken is certainly taken over. And if there's any sort of buy window, you need to jump in quickly now. I had a guy that messaged me earlier today that said he had Cordarrelle Patterson. Oh no, it was yesterday before the news of the injury came out, and someone offered him BREECE Hall for his Cordarrelle Patterson and then 23 first, and he wasn't sure about it. And I just said, you need to jump at it, because that seems great value right now to me, because yeah, he's not ever going to be this cheap again.
Yeah, I think first of all, a savage from you, Ali, on Matt then, but we did love that a little bit. But yeah, BREECE Hall, just people losing their minds. It's week 3 and people losing their heads, and then obviously week 4 performance has eased those fears as such. But rookie running backs, look back to some of the best running backs in the league. Jonathan Taylor, it took him well into the second half of the season to shine. So yeah, what were we expecting him to be? Running back 1 straight away? No. So yeah, I just think he has got a ceiling of running back 1 in the league for dynasty wise. So very happy to be having him on some rosters, but any discount, go for it. Absolutely 2 foot lunge, all in, whatever you want to, expression you want to use. pants off. Just, go for it. With that in mind, I'm going to come on to some trades now for you. BREECE Hall or J.K. Dobbins and a 23 first?
It's a tough one. Obviously, I've just described my love for BREECE Hall, but do you know what? I am going to go J.K. Dobbins in that 23 first. I feel like Dobbins a little bit underrated at the moment, coming back from that injury, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen. Obviously, I had a great week this past week, without really seeing a great deal of volume either. So the fact that you're getting that 23 first star, I mean, I ain't got to keep banging the drum on it. We know how great this class is. So the fact that I'm getting that first and then J.K. Dobbins as well, I'm going to take that side.
I think this is absolutely bang on the value where I see BREECE Hall. So it's incredibly close and a great trade to throw up there. I'll just take BREECE Hall because of the start that he's made the last couple of weeks and just that stability. And I think he's got so much to grow, whereas he was got the fear of J.K. Dobbins with the injury. So I'll take Hall.
Yeah, no comment from me. Trade 2, we're going to go for BREECE Hall or Joe Mixon and a 23 second.
Tugging on the heartstrings here, Kev, again, aren't you, with picking up Joe Mixon? But do you know what? I'm going to take BREECE Hall now on this one. You've not put that first in for me that we've been getting excited about. It's only a second. So, Joe Mixon, while he's producing, not looked fantastic really this year. I think his yards per carry is not looking great at the moment either. So, while we do love volume for running backs, I'd just rather have that younger guy with the incredible ceiling in BREECE Hall. And I think that's solid value to get BREECE Hall.
Yeah, it's easier than the first one for me. This is BREECE Hall.
Smash in. The last one, BREECE Hall or a 23 first and a 23 second.
Tough one because we can create scenarios, can't we, where that 23 first is an early one and then you're looking at somebody. If you get Bijan Robinson, I think, to be honest, I'd take Bijan straight up over BREECE Hall. So if you can tell me that that's going to be a first, and knowing your skill in fantasy, Kev, could be another one. So
Matthew, don't be starting this. I'll post to the league.
Had to get personal idea. I've caught one there, Ali, on cast the hook out and caught one. But, do you know what? I'm still going to go BREECE Hall just because you're not giving me that confirmation that it's going to be an early first. If we're getting more towards the end of the first, I don't think you're going to get a running back in that tier of BREECE Hall. As I say, there's only really Bijan, I think, that I'll put above BREECE Hall at the moment. So I'm going to hold firm and go for BREECE Hall.
Yeah, I see his value being a 23 first and a 24 first. So this is just below that. So therefore, I'll go for Hall.
Let's make it a full house, baby. Mm-hmm. Speaking of full house, this next guy, we weren't a full house on this one. Ali, who stood out to you this week?
Nobody took it to the house from 75 yards out. It's Dameon Pierce, the future Dynasty running back 1. No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm not proclaiming that. But he was my rookie running back 3. So you planted your flag earlier, Kev. So I'm going to plant mine, and so I was in on Dameon Pierce. But yeah, running back 5 on the week. It was a nice introduction to another decent week for Pierce, who certainly looks like he's taken over that backfield on the Houston Texans. And now he's shot up to running back 14 on Keep Trade Cut as well. So just how high is he going to go? Which is it's quite funny. Looking at the rankings, he's actually higher on there than Leonard Fournette, than Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, and Kenneth Walker. But it's certainly looking explosive right now. He had 14 carries for 131 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground for pretty crappy Texans offense, to be honest. For him to be relevant, he needed to have the whole workload, and he's certainly taken that now from Burkhead, who's now they're fading him out. So yeah, if he can carry this workload on, then who knows what the upside is going to be. But the thing that impressed me the most as well, he had 6 targets this week that came out of nowhere, and if he can provide that as well as looking explosive on the ground, then he's someone that could work himself into being a top 10. Who knows, a top 10 fantasy asset. But yeah, 6 targets and just 8 yards to show for it. So not the most high quality targets, but nonetheless in PPR leagues that's certainly helpful. He obviously flashed that ability in college with 45 total receptions at his 4 years at Florida. But the only thing for me is I don't believe in this Texans offense. I don't know where it's going. I don't believe in the organization. So he's just the easiest sell high for me right now. Although just a moment of pause because next week they do face the Jags, so he could be in for another really big week. They've just let 210 yards out on the ground against your Eagles, Kev. So he could be in for another decent week, and therefore I'd certainly be selling him now or next week. If I can get 23 first, I've already tweeted out any 23 first, I would sell him right now.
Yeah, nice Eagles stat there. Go Birds. And just keeping it short and sweet. He's a sell high, day 3 running back, bad offense. You can't give any pass catching upside, 6 targets for 8 yards. You can't give him any credit for that. So yeah,
PPR.
Sell him next week. Once they're out.
Yeah, it's a very sour shot when I knew that we were going to be talking about Dameon Pierce, and I had to look on Keep Trade Cut that it was right up there at RB14. To be honest, I didn't think it'd be as high as that. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. But yeah, no knocks against what he did this past week. Obviously looked great, and it's funny. I was actually looking through a league that I'm in. I happened to send a trade offer out to somebody, and you know, when it comes up on Sleeping, it takes you over to the chat, and it showed me the last trade that we had proposed, and he actually offered me Dameon Pierce for Zeke Elliott. I rejected it at the time, and to be honest, I feel like an absolute idiot for rejecting that offer. So yeah, that was fun to see this morning to make my day. But yeah, Dameon Pierce, been really impressed with what I've done this last couple of weeks. But as I say, a little bit shocked that he's up there at RB14. So with that, I'll present some trade offers to you, and as I say, taking Keep Trade Cuts trade calculator into consideration with this one. So interested to know where you sit, Dameon Pierce or Aaron Jones.
I think this is a pretty easy one for me. I'm obviously always a contender, so I'm going to go for Aaron Jones, who give me two maybe 3 years of quality production from Aaron Jones over who knows what's going to happen to Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, Aaron Jones for me also.
As I said, like I said, I think Keep Trade Cuts off with the vibe because yeah, I fully agree, Aaron Jones, but these were neck and neck in terms of value. So the next one again could be interesting, but I feel like I might know where you go. Pierce or Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, give me Kenneth Walker. I love Kenneth Walker coming into the process. I love his draft capital. Looking into the future, I think Kenneth Walker is going to take over, and yeah, I'll definitely take that side.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kenneth Walker is actually quite an interesting guy to go after with Rashad Penny breaking. I think if you've got a rebuilding team, a retooling team, he's someone I'm going after. I just wish Rich Cullen would accept my offer in that language.
No, I fully agree. And then the final one, I feel like this one could potentially be more interesting. A guy that Ali's already mentioned earlier in the show, Dameon Pierce or Kareem Hunt in a 23-second.
Yeah, this is certainly a lot closer. I value Kareem Hunt probably at 23 seconds. So to get to 23 seconds for Pierce is probably about right for where I'd sell him. So it's close, but I'll go for Kareem Hunt and the second on top. I think that Kareem Hunt is doing fine on the team that he's on. If he was to move at all, then I think he can be an RB1 on the team. So I think the upside's there for Hunt still. So I'll go for that side.
Yeah, I fully agree. Kareem Hunt in the second. Kareem Hunt will probably still have a better season than Dameon Pierce, and you're getting a second on top. So yeah, give me that side, please.
Well, that went well, didn't it? We went against Dameon Pierce with all of them. I thought you might put up a bit of a fight. I mean, get it big one with my RB3 post draft. I thought you might at least pick to be one of those trades, but well, I'll have to make it a little bit tougher next week.
Indeed, and we go from 1-2 down running back to a guy that's been a 2-down running back, but maybe that's about to change, and it's a guy I teased at the start of the show as a Javonte Williams potential pivot. Can't believe I'm saying this. I'm talking about Josh Jacobs. Oh my God, what is going on? Running back 1 on the week, running back 7 on the season. To be honest, he looked really good against the Broncos this week. Tough defense, and he ran all over him. In a contract year, so he's got plenty to play for, but declined his first round tender. So new coaching staff is having to prove himself. And before the season, we thought it was going to be a split backfield, but actually 5 receptions last 2 weeks. He had 54 last year as well, so he has got it. it wasn't 54 for 8 yards like Dameon Pierce, but I just feel that this is someone that's potentially going to be a 3-down back on an improving offense. Just thinking about Jacobs' touchdown, potentially he's got 28 in his first 3 seasons. On offenses not as good as this, I actually see him as a discount Joe Mixon, and let me tell you why. Over his career, listen to this. Fantasy points per game over his career, Josh Jacobs 15.2, Joe Mixon 15.03. Keep trade cut, running back 24. He's 24 years old. They're 1-3 of the Raiders, but actually they've been in 3 games where they lost by 1 score. So they could potentially a lot better than that record. I see him getting re-signed or getting a big deal on the market. So at running back 24, keep trade cut. I believe I'm saying it, lads, but I'm in on Josh Jacobs.
Fair. And my first question, Kev, is did you face Josh Jacobs this week? So I know it's famous that you always seem to be facing Josh Jacobs whenever he has a huge week. So I'd be interested to know if this was thanks to you, Kev. Were you facing him and allowing this huge score?
I will have faced him in 1 league. I mean,
Love it. But yeah, to be honest, I'm happy to eat crow on this one as well. With Josh Jacobs, he's a guy that I've never really been high on. I always thought he's been a byproduct of just having that great workload. Never really getting used in the receiving game, which is obviously a concern. But like you said, this season seems to be potentially used a little bit more in the receiving game. Starting to take a step forward. We always wondered why he never really saw that many targets, because when he was at Alabama, he showed that he could be a receiving back. So it's been great seeing him finally get a little bit more usage in the receiving game. Like you said, Kev, even though the Raiders are 1-3, I think we've got to say that this offense is looking better. Devontae Adams there. You're always going to be excited by that passing offense when you've got somebody like Devontae Adams. So that's potentially opening up some more lanes for Josh Jacobs. Defenses can't afford to crowd the box as much. So yeah, Josh Jacobs really, really impressed me this year. I feel a little bit guilty, to be honest, because I've had a few people reach out to me saying what to do with Josh Jacobs, and I just couldn't come around to the fact that he was good, and I've recommended that they trade him away. But as the weeks go on, I'm starting to feel more guilty that I've made that suggestion, because he's impressed me, to be honest. Yeah,
and I'm going to eat humble pie as well, because I've not got a single share of Josh Jacobs. Perhaps that needs to change, and I'll have a quick word with Kev after the show to find out how I can acquire Josh Jacobs in a few leagues. Yeah, certainly he's looked good. He's looked good to start the season. They've finally worked out how to utilize Josh Jacobs properly. And yeah, if this offense can get going, I think it's been spluttering a bit to start of the season. Everyone thought Devontae Adams was going to take over, and to be fair, he's done his bit. But the offense isn't exactly flying right now. So if they can get going and they can have some leads in games, then Josh Jacobs can be the guy that has all the workload. He can be that workhorse, and yeah, his value could go up, because still only 24 years old. There's certainly some running backs that are older than him that are ahead of him in the dynasty rankings. So you just never know with this running back landscape at the minute. It's hot trash at the minute. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs going forward. But we'll find out certainly where you guys value him. So 3 scenarios. So Josh Jacobs, or someone we spoke about on the last show, Khalil Herbert, and a 23 third.
I'm wearing black and white tonight. It's Josh Jacobs for me.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I side with Josh Jacobs as well on this one.
All right, Josh Jacobs, or the guy we just spoke about in Kareem Hunt, and a 23 third.
Again,
I'm still wearing black and white. Josh Jacobs.
I'll say I think this one is a little bit close. I'm a little bit higher on Kareem Hunt. But again, yeah, Josh Jacobs, what is shown the way that he seems to be going with that receiving work. Yeah, I think I hate to say it, but Josh Jacobs.
Right, we'll try once more. Josh Jacobs, or a 2023 second.
Yeah, this is tough, but yeah, I'm going to stick with Josh Jacobs just on the basis I think he's going to get re-signed by the Raiders. I like that offense a lot. 3 down back, gimme.
Yeah, again, I think I'm siding Josh Jacobs, even though we love that 23 class. The fact that it's a second, you're then getting away from those stud running backs. So Josh Jacobs is still in a 24, like we said. And if he does resign, or even if he moves, you never know the situation that he could land in. I'm taking Josh Jacobs. I'm going to quickly say 24 first. Would that sway you a little bit? Because even though it's a year out, you're getting that first.
No, I think I've had a bang on head and
wow,
truther.
Bloody hell!
Feel absolutely disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, we're now going to come on to our wildcard waivers, guys. That we should be. We're going to recommend we tag it on your waiver wires. Quick fire round this week. So yeah, who have you got first, Ali?
Yeah, a guy that actually, when I made my selection, he was actually on a different team, but now he's on the Denver Broncos, obviously with Javonte Williams injury. And they've got Melvin Gordon, who's just looking absolutely terrible right now. Got minus points this week, I think. Obviously, they've got Mike Boone as the third guy. Latavius Murray looked really good running the ball this week against the Vikings in London. 11 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown on the ground, average 5.18 yards per carry. Also had a reception. We know he's 32 years old, so this is not a guy that you're going to get and be able to sell on for a first or second, whatever. It's someone to slot into your lineups right now if you need it. And I think he could carve out a role on this offense. So yeah, let's ride with Latavius Murray.
Yeah, my pick follows on quite nicely because I'm going with the guy that Ali just mentioned in Mike Boone. A little bit more maybe of a speculative ad because we know Mike Boone never really managed to hold down a role, but looked good this past week. 3 carries for 20 yards and reception for 9 yards. And he's shown flashes when he was with the Vikings in 2019. He had a stretch of games where he got the starting role, averaged 5.8 yards per carry. 40 carries, 232 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he's actually been really efficient on his carries in his career. He's got a career average of 6.1 yards per carry. So when given the opportunity, he's actually managed to be efficient with those carries. So yeah, speculative ad, I think, on Mike Boone in this backfield.
Yeah, we come on to my guy. I'm not going to say what I want to say about this guy, but he had a cracking week. Caleb Huntley, 10 rushes, 56 yards and a touchdown. Cordell Patterson, he's going to be out for the next 4 weeks at least on IR. In all leagues, I'm in 22 leagues. He's actually only owned in 1 league, and that's not by me either. So he's going to be on your waiver wires. Yeah, Algier got 11 touches, Huntley got 10 in his absence, but there's few Williams signs. Damien Williams is coming back next week. Avery Williams, the guy that I spoke up about a couple of weeks back as well. So I'm not going to get totally off him because it makes my takes look bad. But yeah, I think deep stash, no fireworks. This guy just someone that you can put an ad in a few leagues and see what happens. But I'm not expecting a lot for Caleb Huntley. So that brings us to the end of the show where we've reviewed week 4 of the NFL season. Any quick final thoughts on today's show? I'll come to you first, Matt.
Yeah, I think now we're 4 weeks in. I think you're in that position now. You probably know where you are in terms of Dynasty and how you're getting on. So now's the time when I think you've got to start making moves. If you're looking like a contender, go out and make those moves. If you think you need to rebuild, go and start rebuilding. Because as I say, I think we're like a third of the way through the season, the regular season. So yeah, the earlier you make these moves, the better.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to work out how many points you've scored. You could be someone that scored more points than the teams near the top, but you've just been unlucky. So just work out how many points scored and your max points and work out what you're going to do for this season. And just looking back at it, the running back landscape is an absolute minefield. And if you drafted wide receiver early this year, you're looking rather favourable. You've got Saquon Barkley RB1 and Nick Chubb as the RB2 right now. So it's looking like we're back in 2018, boys.
Loving it.
Indeed, and just sort of echoing what you guys say, in week 4, it should be a most aggressive trading week. I think it should be a busiest trading week of the season. Be the first to market, set the market value, don't be following other people's inflated costs. What I would say is don't be trading away 23 first. Not right now. Not when it could be anything. You could have a slew of injuries and that becomes the 101. Imagine if you give up Bijan Robinson for some absolute toe rag or something just horrible. But yeah, just don't be trading 23 first yet, but be aggressive with your trades will be my tip. So thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Wildcard. Subscribe to us on YouTube by searching Fantasy Wildcard Podcast Network. which includes the brand new show, the Wildcard Rewind, plus leaves a 5-star podcast review. Join us every Tuesday for this podcast and every Wednesday for this stream of the show. Thank you once again. Have a good